Hi, this is Hitpause from Magic Stone Studios, and this is the introduction to our video tutorial series and scripting tutorial series on how to get a custom weapon into UDK, basically starting from scratch. And what I want to do here, this is actually the second intro video that I'm creating, but this one I wanted to run through a little bit more of actually what we're going to be giving to you. What we're looking for is basically help with our project in the form of donations. And before anybody would really want to do that, they should probably maybe check out what we've actually got going on over here. And you can go and check it out at ratsarmy.com. Okay, you can see the address right here. And this website has a bunch of videos and things like that. It's a very new site, so it's not really complete, but we do have some content up that you can check out. Like I said, videos and we have a gallery, and we have a community forum and things like that. And if you check out the gallery, there's a bunch of screenshots of characters and all kinds of stuff. There's quite a bit of it here, of all this different stuff that we've got going on. So, like I said, if you're interested, and just a little bit about the project, Rats is a first-person shooter where players take on the role of a rodent army. Basically, these are genetically engineered rats that have been trained in military warfare, and they're basically going to be fighting throughout various scenarios, either in training or actual real emergencies. And players will basically be able to take control of these rats. It'll have multiple weapons and a couple of different classes, and it's going to have vehicle combat and things like that in there when we're finally done, and we'll be supporting it, for years to come, hopefully. The original concept of Rats was actually something that I really enjoyed in playing Team Fortress Classic and a little bit in Team Fortress 2. There was a mod called Rats, and this is actually kind of homage to that. And in Team Fortress, really what it was that basic game, Team Fortress Classic or Team Fortress 2, and they just took their characters and basically created a couple of maps that were really just simulating a large environment. So you'd be fighting in a giant bedroom kind of thing. So what I've been wanting to do for years and years and years, I'd always said I think it would be awesome if somebody made a complete game out of this general idea. And we haven't stolen anything from Team Fortress in any way whatsoever. We're not using anything even really remotely related to it, though it will be a first-person shooter, and it will be in a large world. And I believe that the original mod Rats was actually community created. It was a couple of mappers that made it. I'm not entirely sure about that. So what we've decided to do was go ahead with that concept and make a full-blown game out of it, including multiplayer, a single-player campaign that includes a co-op campaign, that would be roughly similar to something maybe like Left 4 Dead, where there's four players running through different scenarios, completing different objectives and things like that. If you play that, if you really like that game, hopefully you'll really like this game. And it'll also come with a complete multiplayer mode, which will be in the vein of your typical Battlefield and Call of Duty type games, where it'd be team-based or deathmatch, that kind of thing. So it's pretty much a military first-person shooter. It's just themed in something a little bit more cartoony and cute and fun. So if you're interested in checking out the project before you make up your mind whether or not you want to help us out, like I said, just head on over to ratsarmy.com, and that you can find all the information there. So what we've done is we've actually gone ahead, and alongside this tutorial, which is going to be made available to anybody at any time, we've created a bit of an incentive package for people who may be on the fence or aren't sure if they would consider helping out our project with donations. And so what we've done is, if you donate even $5 or more, obviously you can donate anything you like, but if you donate at least $5, what we're going to be providing to you are all the assets that we actually use inside of these tutorials, which is actually going to be put inside of UDK. So one of the great things is the things that we're going to be giving you, you can pretty much just use outright straight in UDK. You just got to put the package in your folders and open it up, and everything is going to be right there. So we're going to be creating a Glock, okay, and a good portion of the tutorial is actually how I went about modeling this thing. Okay, so this high-res Glock, which is roughly, well, it's exactly 4,369 polygons, will be yours and free to use in any project that you would like, commercial or otherwise, completely royalty-free, without any kind of stipulations or anything like that. There's no copyrights on any of this stuff. It was all created 100% from scratch, and if you have access to this as a donator, then you can use it for really whatever you want. We're also including some first-person arms for those that may not have any arms for their character. If you do have arms, you can use the tutorial to pretty much figure out a good way to get these in the game yourself. But if you don't, we have included these arms here for those who donate, and the mesh flow on them is pretty good. They're about 3,300 polys or so, and they're not the greatest in the world or anything like that, but they do serve the purpose, and they animate well. Okay, so you'll get the Glock and you'll get the arms. You also get the animations that we actually go through in the tutorial and create, already put into UDK as an anim set, and I can show you some of those here. Okay, this would be the aim fire animation, and if I hit play, you can see that it's pretty basic, but it does work well in game. There's some idle animations that are kind of hard to see, an equip animation where he brings the gun up and cocks it, and firing and from aim. These the basic animations that we're going to run through are pretty much right here. So yeah, again, if you donate, you'll get these already in and working. And the other thing I wanted to mention about the tutorial series is that it's actually a two-part series. We're going through the entire creation of the assets. The only thing that isn't covered is actually how to model the arms, and I don't include an in-depth tutorial about how to go about texturing it and painting it and stuff. But modeling and unwrapping and rigging and animating and exporting and all that is 100% covered. And then the other part is not a video series. It's actually a text series, I suppose, is what you could call it, on how to actually do all of the programming side of it. It really doesn't make any sense to make a video for how to write code, because it would be pretty frustrating to try to actually go through that. If you wanted to actually incorporate it, you'd have to keep pausing the video and trying to scrub to where that piece of code that you wanted is. So that portion of the tutorial is best put in text, written, and there's it's going to be perfectly understandable, with descriptions on how to do it. So whether or not you're looking to learn how to do the art side of this or the programming side of this, we're going to cover everything that we possibly can. And again, if you are a donator, then you will actually get the scripts that are ran through in the tutorial, and you can pretty much plug and play these art assets with those scripts, and you'll have this whole system working in any game that you wanted to. And like I said, you're free to use it for whatever you want. I've also included materials here for everything. The arms have materials. The gun actually has 3 materials. Okay, well, there's a clean version of the Glock that is basically a brand new weapon, which might be a little hard to see because it's mostly black, but that's really what the weapon is. and then also there's a light version, which is basically a medium kind of amount of wear and tear, where the metal is kind of oxidized a little bit, and there's some dirt on it. Okay, and then there's also a heavy worn version where the gun is pretty much just entirely rusted out, and it's really heavily worn. It's pitted and it's dented and it's scratched up really bad. So you'll get the materials, and obviously with the materials you'll get all of the textures that were generated for the weapon. These are 2048s, but what we're including is actually also 4096 images for those who donate. Those who don't donate will get 512s, just to make sure that the materials actually do show up. But for the most part, we assume that if you're not really looking for it, I mean, if you didn't want the assets and you wanted to donate, that that would be up to you, and that would be greatly appreciated. However, if you're doing it so you can get the assets, pretty much you get all these really nice high-res ones. But if you don't need anything, and you're just kind of coming around and browsing and just want to look through the tutorial, or if you're really just interested in the information aspect of it, then we do provide some assets that are actually going to work, but they won't be of this quality. They won't be that high caliber. It's going to be a low-res weapon and low-res arms. The other thing that we're going to be providing is actually the source files for pretty much everything that we've created. Okay, that includes the original Photoshop files here. So if I go to image size, you can see that these are 4096, so they're quite large. So if you wanted to use an extremely highly detailed version of it, feel free to use these. But we personally are going to be using the 2048s, and it's pretty easy to take these down in resolution. And the files all come layered. Okay, it's all named. Okay, there's you can turn all these off if you wanted to re-export, like a clean version, or if you wanted to paint your own stuff. It does have the UV layout template is in there, so that's nice and handy. And it comes with the bump map, the diffuse, and the specular. And like I said, we don't cover how to do the texturing because it's pretty much out of the scope of the tutorial. However, pretty much in general, what we've done is we've taken the specular map and we've combined it with the we put it in the alpha channel of the diffuse texture, so that we save a little bit of memory and physical space on that. And I can show you that here in a second. So if you look here, here's the diffuse, and inside that there's an alpha channel for the actual specular map. And if I go to the actual specular file, you can see that there's really no difference between the two. However, the specular map is also layered, so you can turn some of these stuff on and off if you wanted to. If you just wanted to get a particular look, and you can obviously just paint over this any way you wanted to. And really, all you got to do is just hide the layers that you want, and just go to channels and just copy the RGB. And if it says that you can't pick any pixels, really all you got to do is flatten this and bring it over into the diffuse texture, and then copy the RGB just by holding Control and clicking on it. And then it's wanting to do some kind of merge layer, but anyway, you just hold Control and click on the thumbnail, and then you can just tell it new alpha channel. So that's all I did there. So you're not missing out on much in terms of that. But like I said, we are providing the original PSD files that are layered for both the gun and the arms. Okay, the arms also come with the PSD file, and the format is actually Photoshop CS5. So if you don't have access to that and you can't open it in another format, we've actually gone ahead and pre-exported all of the different sizes of TGA files, and these will come basically straight into UDK. You can import these no problem, and again, that's for both the weapon and the arms. And like I said, the 4096s are exported too. So if you don't have any access to editing images, then you're still good to go inside of UDK, because we are going to give you all of the TGAs that get imported into UDK. And so the other thing that we're going to also provide is the max source files for everything. Now the version that we're using for max is 2010, so if you're running 2010 or later, then you'll be able to open these no problem. However, if you are using a completely different program like XSI or Maya, you can still actually follow the general principles and practices, though you're going to have to translate everything to the workflow of those applications. And what we're going to do for those people is provide OBJ files, which I still have to export out, but it's going to be pretty basic. We're gonna give you OBJ files, so you can import that into any 3D app that you want and start from there. However, you won't be able to actually open any of the animation files, which that's another thing that we're going to be providing. To those who donate, you'll actually get a fully loaded scene, pretty much, of the actual animation files. Now this is the equip animation, and you can see I can scrub through it and actually play that animation where he comes up and cocks the gun and then gets it ready. And so we're going to go through this in the tutorial, but we're also, for those who donate, we're going to actually provide these files so you can open them up. And like I said, you will have to be running Max 2010 or later to actually access these files. If not, you pretty much have to run your own animations in your own package. But for those that just want the animations, they are here inside of UDK. We're gonna pretty much give those inside of a package, so you can still use these if you wanted to. And for those that don't actually want to donate, and like I said, we are going to give you guys some assets that will be helpful, but what they're going to be is actually a low-res version of it. It's a little bit less usable. It's not as pretty. It uses the same materials and textures on this weapon here, but it doesn't map out as good, and it's fuzzy and things like that. So I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't put it in an actual game. But if you're just looking to learn how to do stuff, then it's a good, you can still use it to basically run through the tutorials. The only thing is you'll be using low res stuff, and the tutorial will be showing the high res stuff. But all the bones and all the practices and all that stuff are going to be pretty much the same thing. And again, we're providing low res arms here. And like I said, it's going to be rigged, so you could just go in and just start animating. But the arms themselves are pretty basic and square. You can see it's just all squared off. So it's not going to be really all that useful in terms of an actual project, but it is still something to get you moving forward. And like I said, it's all rigged and everything, so you should be good to go there. And like I said, those who don't donate will get 512 TGA files, and again, that will be put in a package too. We're gonna make a separate package for those who donate and those who don't donate. And this package here is the incentive package basically, and this, like I said, comes with high-res materials and things like that. And also, if you do donate, you'll be getting access to the actual UDK script files that Paul will be running everybody through on how to do. You'll actually get the UC files, and you can pretty much just plug and play everything together, and you're good to go. But here's these are much more high-res arms, and it's a much more high-res texture. It's a 2048. But again, for the donators, you do get a 4096 of this if you really wanted to, which is much more detailed, including the normal maps too. And a lot of times general practice is to make your normal map half the size of your diffuse texture. But if you wanted the ultimate detail, then just bring in all 4096s. Just be warned that if you do use the 4096s, that you're probably best importing them one at a time, just because it does take a long time and it kind of bogs down the system. And I really don't suggest using 4096 in an actual final product, but there's really no reason why you can, especially if it's something that was extremely prevalent, a major asset in your game. Feel free to use 4096 on wherever you feel it necessary. But personally, we're using the 2048 versions, which look good. And like I said, I didn't drop these down to 1024s, but under normal circumstances the diffuse would be 2048 and the normal mat would be half that size. And the materials here are actually they're instance constants, so that you could pretty much just kind of plug in whatever diffuse, normal, and specular texture, and you got controls here for the glossiness. The material is really nothing groundbreaking. It's almost as basic as you can get, and you're 100% free to just create whatever materials you want. You know, using these textures. If you repaint stuff or whatever, you can you know, tune your material for whatever you wanted. If you wanted this to be more burned or something. Let me try to get this into view here. You know, if you wanted to have scars and tattoos and things like that, it should be pretty easy to slap that stuff on here using Photoshop. You could also import this, you know, the files into ZBrush or Mudbox and paint it there, or just paint your tattoos in one of those apps and composite those in Photoshop. So, like I said, if you donate, you get all of the high-res stuff, free to use, copyright free, royalty free, 100%. If you don't donate, you still get stuff to use, but it's really not going to be worth a whole lot. And the other thing I wanted to show is if you do get all the animation files, if you donate, you get pretty much a scene that looks like this, where the assets are in there all together. But if you don't, you're going to get really just a raw skeleton of the form. Okay, there's no mesh put on here, and the animations are still there. Okay, it still plays the animations, and you can still export these, because keep in mind that animations are actually just exported using the bones. You don't need to select the mesh. So as long as if you follow along the series and you see how I did everything, you know, this might look a little confusing on what you're supposed to export, but for the most part you can do it straight out of this scene. You can get the arms animation and the gun animation, and I'll go through it later and mention this may be the first video you watch. Like I said, this is the second introduction. The first introduction is actually more a little bit more about what, you know, the tutorial itself is going through, and it actually is a partially a preparation video as well, and the things that you know may want to do, setting up your scenes and your files and stuff in Max, and how to set some preferences and, you know, hotkeys and things like that. Just general hints and tips, you know, especially if you're a really brand new user. Those are going to be extremely handy. If you're a seasoned veteran and you've already got your workflow, you know, you don't really, you know, aren't going to benefit so much from that information. But, you know, if not, and so like I said, if you do follow through, these low-res assets that, you know, that come for free are perfectly 100% usable. There's nothing stopping you from doing these. You can see here's the gun bones, okay, and it works. You can export this no problem, and when you go back into UDK, it will work. And if you're following along and you wanted to do this yourself, so you can learn how to do it, to make sure that, you know, all the rest of your weapons and your arms and things like that all work, then pretty much you would be here with a fully, you know, loaded weapon that would look pretty much similar to this file here, where you'd actually have the you know, the weapon in the scene and stuff like that. There was just kind of no way to swap the mesh real easy, so if I provided this to the free people, then they'd basically be getting the high-res Glock, and they could just take it and use it. So, you know, we do want to provide incentive for those that like our project or this tutorial and want to help us out. So again, hopefully you enjoy this and that you get something out of it. It is quite long. The videos ran in raw format. About 50 gigabytes of video footage was recorded, and it was condensed down to roughly 3 or 4 gigabytes or something. It's somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 hours long, so there's a lot of material. We're definitely not skimping on anything. There's not a lot that is skipped, like I said, except for modeling the arms. which just because we're assuming that most people are going to want to have their own custom character going on here, not necessarily those arms that we're providing just for the sake of making sure that you have something to use if you don't have anything. Don't go through the texturing on how to do the textures, but I do actually did record a speed painting session of me doing the sculpting and textures for the arms, and also the entire set of textures for the Glock itself. Now, I do want to admit that there was a problem with the speed painting video. We're planning on pretty much making it available to those who donate just for fun. It's not going to be in any kind of tutorial format. It's just a video that's painting this using Mudbox, and it's going to be sped up, roughly 10 to 12 times its normal speed, and it'll just blast through really fast, showing how everything was laid down. But like I said, there was a problem, and I had to record it in 2 parts, and the first part of the video actually got corrupted and won't open anymore. So what I was planning on doing was actually redoing that part of the painting and kind of doing it a little bit more efficiently and quicker. And it might skip a little bit here and there. I just wanted to admit that it might seem a little weird that if the gun just all of a sudden jumps from one condition to a little bit more finished, it's because the video just got corrupted. I don't know what happened, and because it's just for fun and it's not informative. There's it's not really that big of a deal. Really, I just wanted to show that the texture was painted from scratch by hand. I did use a photo reference of skin for the arms to make that go a little easier. If you look at the texture here, it is actually a let me make it a little larger. It's based off a photo. It was projected onto the surface of the model, but the texture for the Glock itself was actually 100% painted from scratch by hand using various different brushes and techniques and things like that. It took quite a while to do the texture for this. It was about 10 hours total for the Glock texture, and like I said, the speed painting video would be 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something at the most of that, just pretty much just screaming past your screen, and maybe set to music or something fun. So again, thank you for watching, and hopefully this helps you out. And feel free to contact us. You can use our forums at ratsarmy.com, or you can get a hold of us on the UDK forums, or if you found this and you're not a UDK developer and you found this on another site that we put this up, feel free to post there. We'll be checking to make sure everybody's okay, and that everything makes sense, and that there isn't any glaring problems, because obviously it's a little hard to make tutorials when you're experienced and you're making it for people that aren't, because there's certain things, everybody can be kind of guilty of it. You don't know what people's experience level are, and to do it for everybody. You don't want to bore the experienced users, but you don't want to leave the new users out and things like that. So those mistakes can be made here and there. So if you run while trying to actually follow through, and you just come to some kind of a weird roadblock, let us know, and we'll gladly take time out to help you on a personal level, make sure that it is useful for you. And like I said, for donators, you get a ton of materials. Okay, it's going to be actually a lot of megabytes for the download, but it's pretty worth it, with all the textures and the package and everything like that. And hopefully you see that something like this, especially actually put into UDK, by getting the packages and stuff like that, you might be able to buy a free Glock, or you might be able to find a free Glock, but you're never going to find one that's in a UPK file, or saved out that way and actually pretty much ready to go and working inside of the editor already. And even if you do buy one that maybe comes as an OBJ or various different formats, could be textured or whatnot, in a lot of cases they're too low res. In some cases they're too high res, and actually they can be quite expensive if you get a really high quality one, especially one that's royalty free, or you actually have permission to use it in a commercial project, it can actually cost you a couple $100s, especially with all of the the high res aspect of everything. So if you donate, it's pretty worth it. It's pretty cheap in relation to what this stuff can cost people. I mean, if obviously if you already have a Glock, you don't need to, and it'd be up to you if you wanted to just donate to help out our project. But if you do actually want the assets, and you do donate, it's quite an extreme value for really all that we're asking. Like I said, it's $5 or more. I mean, you can donate again whatever you want. You can do just $1 or 50 cents if you wanted to, but we're setting the minimum limit for those who actually get access to all this stuff and get sent all these assets to $5, which is pretty much nothing. I mean, it's the cost of lunch, and it's going to go a long way for us because like I said, our project is unfunded, and we're getting pretty close to actually to getting the project done. We just have a couple of last hurdles that we really just need help on, and a little bit of funding on. So this is our way of trying to go about that, and hopefully people see that what we've put into it is well worth it, and it is very informative. If you don't know anything about how to do any of this stuff and you follow through with this, or even just watch it, you'll know a tremendous amount more, and you'll be pretty ready to do it yourself, and you'll see that a lot of these things, it's not rocket science, it's not magic, and it's not impossible. It is definitely achievable. So if you do go through it and want to follow along with everything, I wish you luck, and like I said, we'll be around to help you out if you run into problems, but you really shouldn't run into too many problems. Just know that it's a little bit of a time investment. That, like I said, there's many hours of video, and there's more hours of reading through the scripting side of it and everything like that. So you're in for a little bit of a challenge if you're totally brand new, but like I said, it's totally achievable. All you got to do is just set your mind to it and spend a couple of evenings with us here with our series, and you should be pretty well off by the time you're done and ready to go, hopefully. So thank you again, and I will see you in the tutorial.